Quiero pelear con el monstruo Inoue.
Plan, stop him.
正式に決定して、それに向けてしまったしまった練習にかけてきました。
This kid is patient. He has extreme punching power. And he is dynamic.
この場に関係者、そして日本人への皆様が演技を入れてくれたので、今日この日を迎えることができました。本当にありがとうございました。すごくスピードもパワーも乗り、充実した試合内容を、今日こなせたと思うんですけど、それからスーパー簡単なまだ見えましたし、
how Inoue has stepped up in weight, right? You know, he's coming up pretty high for a guy where he started. So here he is, a favorite in the fight. Everybody assumes he's going to win. Tapales is certainly a good fighter in that weight division. Wasn't the biggest name, but he did get himself a title and won in an upset. So it's easy for us to forget that Inoue has come so far up in weight. But the fact that he can be dominant in a win, even though, as we said, Tapales had a few good moments, is extraordinary to say about Inoue. Because this guy he could be a generational fighter when you think about it for the smaller weight class.
Yeah, the run that Inoue's on is like, what is the ultimate goal? Because he's fighting. The last two fights, the guys came to fight. What we got? Q-Boy, Pretty Boy.
Well, Fulton, yeah.
Fulton, he came to fight.
Yeah.
The guys are starting to come to fight because I've seen a lot of guys get in the ring and they knew it was over.
Yeah, oh sure.
Yeah,
I mean, he dominated Fulton though in a way that nobody thought he was going to. Let's be honest, that looked like a 50-50 fight, right?
Yeah.
It looked like a fight that like when that fight was coming up, you know, people say, "Oh, what's your prediction?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, honestly." You know, I knew that Inoue was a bigger puncher at lower weight classes. Fulton's not a monstrous puncher at 122, but how would that play out? But he just completely dominated the fight.
And that's what I'm saying. Going into fights, on paper, we thought it was 50-50. When that's over, what, 80-20?
Yeah.
He dominated the fight.
Oh, 100%.
What's the goal for this guy?
I would say right now we have three, and I want to stay on Inoue, but I feel like we have three generational fighters right now.
Name them.
I think right now the generational fighters that we have that are just, with Inoue, you in your way, because you in his way.
Yeah,
it ain't happening with him.
Exactly. Yeah.
At 122, 126.
That's gonna be. I don't know if people are gonna be at 122. I'm not sure anybody's gonna beat.
Not at 122. You in the way. At 126. You in the way.
130.
130.
So now we get to 130. He's gone up so high.
Sure.
That there might be somebody. But like, for instance, I look at maybe at you know, we get to 126. Guys like Brandon Figueroa are very good fighters.
Yeah.
But hey, look what he just did to Fulton and
Fight fans, welcome back to Luxury Tainments. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the upcoming fight where Naoya, the monster Inoue, defends his WBC, WBA, IBF and WBO super bantamweight belts against former world champion, the Mexican, Luis Nery. Naoya Inoue's reputation as boxing's most ruthless puncher will be tested by Luis Nery in their undisputed world title fights. Naoya, the monster Inoue, with 26 wins, 0 losses and 23 wins by the way of knockouts, will defend his undisputed super bantamweight championship against his WBC mandatory Luis Nery. with 35 wins, 1 loss, and 27 wins by the way of knockout in May in Tokyo, Japan. This fight will be taking place in May with Inoue's IBF, WBA, WBC and WBO 122-pound titles all on the line against the former 2-division world champion. Fresh off his 10th round knockout victory over Marlon Tapales last December, Monster Inoue will be making his first defense of his undisputed 122-pound championship against Nery, who was banned for life in Japan for coming in overweight and a doping violation for his clash in that country against their hero Shinsuke Yamanaka in March 2018 in a fight that he scored a second-round knockout. Luis Nery has since been reinstated, making it possible for him to fight Inoue in the country. It's believed that Inoue intends to defend his undisputed Super Bantamweight Championship 3 times this year. That's surprising because it was thought that he would move up to 126 pounds to go after the 4 belts in that weight class. But some believe that after the hard time Inoue had beaten Tapales, he decided not to take the risk of doing up to featherweight and risk his neck against these champions: Ray Vargas, Luis Lopez, Rafael Espinoza, Raymond Ford. Luis Bandera Nery has won twice while fighting in Japan, having twice knocked out former WBC bantamweight champion Shinsuke Yamanaka in front of his own fans in Tokyo in 2017 and 2018. Those wins by Nery, the visiting fighter, rubbed the locals the wrong way, as they expected Shinsuke to do a number on him like he'd done his many other challengers for his belt. Now, what would happen if Nery beats Inoue? This would be disastrous for the Japanese fans at ringside. Hopefully, they don't go ballistic at seeing Monster beaten by the Mexican fighter. Inoue's WBC, WBA, IBF and WBO Super Bantamweight belts will be at stake against Nery, a dangerous Mexican challenger in the Tokyo Dome. Nicknamed the Monster, Inoue is a 4-weight world champion and 2-weight undisputed king, who most recently stopped Marlon Tapales late 2023 to unify the Super Bantamweight division. Luis Nery is a former 2-weight world champion who won the WBC title at both bantamweight and junior featherweight and has responded with 4 victories since his sole defeat, a 7th round stoppage loss to Brandon Figueroa in May 2021. Bob Arum, the top-ranked chairman, told Luxury Entertainment that Naoya Inoue is the world's best fighter, a young man who amazes me every time he steps in the ring. Now let's look at the potential advantages and disadvantages for both fighters, Naoya Inoue and Luis Nery, in their upcoming fights. Firstly, advantages for Naoya Inoue. Precision and power. Inoue is known for his precision punching and devastating power, which can be a significant advantage in exchanges. Technical skills. He possesses exceptional technical skills including footwork, head movement, and counter-punching ability, giving him an edge in controlling the pace and distance of the fights. Experience. Having faced top-level opponents in his career, Inoue has valuable experience in high-pressure situations which can help him stay composed and make smart decisions during the fight. Ring IQ. Inoue has shown a high level of ring intelligence, being able to adapt to his opponent's style and make necessary adjustments during the fight. Stamina. He has demonstrated good stamina in his fights, allowing him to maintain a high work rate and pressure on his opponents throughout the rounds. Now let's look at the disadvantages for Naoya Inoue. Vulnerability to pressure. Inoue has shown vulnerability to pressure and aggression in some of his fights, which could be exploited by a relentless opponent like Nery. Limited reach. Inoue has a relatively shorter reach compared to some of his opponents, which could pose challenges in keeping distance and landing clean shots against a taller opponent like Nery. Injury concerns. Confidence. There's a risk of overconfidence, especially considering his undefeated record and past dominant performances, which could lead to underestimating his opponent and making mistakes in the ring. Now let's look at the advantages for Luis Nery. Punching power. Nery is known for his explosive power and knockout ability, which can pose a significant threat to any opponent, including someone as skilled as Inoue. Aggression. He's an aggressive fighter who constantly pressures his opponents, which could overwhelm Inoue and disrupt his rhythm. Size and reach. Nery has a height and reach advantage over Inoue, which could allow him to maintain distance and control the range of the fight, making it difficult for Inoue to land clean shots. Southpaw stance. Nery fights from a southpaw stance, which could create angles and openings that Inoue may not be accustomed to, potentially giving him an advantage in exchanges. Youth and hunger. At 27 years old, Nery is a younger and perhaps more motivated to prove himself against a top-tier opponent like Inoue, which could translate into a higher level of intensity and determination in the fight. Now let's look at the disadvantages for Luis Nery. Defensive vulnerabilities. Nery has shown defensive vulnerabilities in previous fights, particularly in terms of head movement and guard, which could leave him open to Inoue's precise and powerful counter-punching. Gas tank. There have been concerns about Nery's conditioning and gas tank in longer fights, which could be exploited by Inoue if he can weather the early storm and take the fight into the later rounds. Inexperience at elite level. While Nery has faced some quality opponents, he lacks the same level of experience against elite level competition compared to Inoue, which could be a factor in handling the pressure and tactics of a high stakes fight like this. Weight issues. Nery has had weight-related issues in the past, including missing weight for fights, which could affect his conditioning and overall performance, particularly if he struggles to make weight for this bout. And lastly, mental pressure. The pressure of facing a highly skilled and dangerous opponent like Inoue could potentially affect Nery's mindset and decision-making in the ring, leading to the lapses in strategy or composure during the fight. Now, just to conclude, Luis Nery is a tough challenger, but I fully expect Inoue to get the job done in front of more than 50,000 fans at the Tokyo Dome.
So guys, who do you have winning? Stay tuned for more updates on this matchup, and don't forget to subscribe for all things boxing here on Luxutainment. Until next time, keep those gloves up.